It is Tuesday, December 8th. Found myself up in North Phoenix. I haven't explored too much up here since I lived up here a few years ago. So I thought I'd go for a little walk. Going for a walk up to peak 2448. So it doesn't actually have a name. It has a prominence of 638 feet. And it's right up against one of these new neighborhoods up here. We started right at the bottom of this hill, right at the end of a cul-de-sac. So if you're gonna come try this again in the future, make sure there's not a house built all of a sudden, because I imagine these are popping up pretty quickly. But this is gonna be just really a short little walk up some of these neighborhood use trails. But more just an effort to show that no adventure is too small, no peak is too small. And I don't think there's a single night without an amazing sunset here in Phoenix. All right, we found ourselves on a little saddle between this little sub-peak bump, this up ahead, and the 2448 straight across the way there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna skirt this hill and then make our way up to that ridge line and climb that final little bit up to the summit. Up to this point, we've been on some trails that are marked on CalTopo with some OSM data. So I think the people that live in this neighborhood use this as kind of like an afternoon walk adventure up to that sub-peak. But this is about where the OSM data ends. But there is still a pretty well-defined user path up here. So I imagine it's fairly common that people are going up there too. Again, as I mentioned though, this is probably changing pretty quickly, so I could see this even going away to the point where they're building houses up in here. So this might look different by the time you try to come up here. So make sure you're trying to get latest data when you do. Coming up on the final ridge line up to the summit, and as expected there really is a very well-worn use path, I think all the way to the top. So far it's been very well-worn and very easy to follow, and I imagine since we're so close to the summit it'll continue to the summit, as it's probably a common afternoon walk destination for all the people in these neighborhoods. And as another note about all these neighborhoods, since there's so many neighborhoods around, there's also so many access points. So you might be able to find a different way up than where I came. But again, that's where I came. That was that saddle that we were just on from the last clip. We made it to the summit right as the sun is dipping down below the horizon. The sunset's usually more impressive on days where there's clouds in the sky. This one is not disappointing at all. Here we're at the very edge of North Phoenix. See clear all the way down, back down into Phoenix from here. This was a very simple walk, just through some neighborhood use trails. It took about 20 minutes to get to the top, so I'll probably just give my summary here, since it's not going to take very long to get back down to the bottom. As usual, I like to thank any trail pioneers. There's a lot of people that are coming up here. Probably, as I said, mostly people that live in these neighborhoods. I'd like to thank the map builders. Even on something as small as this, it's still useful to check out the map and see the topography, see the contours, see kind of the best way up. And then of course the original stewards of this land up here, North Phoenix, New River area, that is the Yavapai Apache peoples and the Hohokam peoples. Have a good night, everybody. Here's one last view of this spectacular sunset we have tonight. guess we're coming back on to the point where I parked. I don't think I mentioned it before, but I parked on a road called West Via Savelli. But as I mentioned earlier, there seems to be a pretty huge network of use trails, and this mountain seems to have access points on all sides of it. So kind of pick a route where you think you might have the least impact on the neighbors and find your way up.